A married man and his wife both slid into the same woman's messages on the same exact day, October 15th, 2022, and that woman just sat on Cam Newton's couch, looked America in the face, and said she had no idea who either of them were. Claressa Shields didn't just get caught in a lie this week. She got caught in a lie with a timestamp on it, a heart reaction under it, and her own fiancé's engagement ring sitting on her finger in the evidence photo. And here's the part that should make every single person watching this sit up straight. The relationship direct messages that leaked online aren't the story. They're the receipt. The story is what the receipt proves, that everything you've been told about how this relationship started, the whole fairy tale about two strangers meeting at the Shakur Stevenson fight in Newark and exchanging poetry, like some kind of Brooklyn love sonnet, was manufactured, built, engineered. And the people who built it needed you to believe it, because the truth, the real timeline, the one hiding in Papoose's own Vlad TV interview where he accidentally snitched on himself, makes everybody involved look exactly like what the internet has been calling them for 2 years. This isn't just about one boxer's reputation 3 days before the biggest fight of her life at State Farm Arena on August 15th. This is about how celebrity relationships get packaged and sold to you like pay-per-view undercards. This is about Zeus Network money, Floyd Mayweather allegedly getting paid to pretend he cares about a fight nobody's buying tickets for, and a promotional machine so desperate it's advertising its own celebrity row like a carnival barker. And when we get to the October 15th Double DM breakdown later in this video, and I promise you, we are getting there, and it is the single most damaging piece of this entire puzzle, you're going to understand why Claressa Shields' whole origin story with Papoose collapses like a house of cards in a hurricane. So lock in. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe. Let's get into it. Now let me set the table for everybody who's been living under a rock, because this situation has more layers than a wedding cake, and we're cutting through every single one of them tonight. Claressa Shields, the self-proclaimed GWOT, the two-time Olympic gold medalist, undisputed in multiple weight classes, genuinely one of the most decorated fighters in women's boxing history, is fighting Kaye Scott this Saturday, August 15th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. This is supposed to be a coronation. First woman to headline boxing at that arena. Historic night. Solita Promotions has been pushing this thing for months. And instead of Fight Week being about the fight, it's about leaked DMs, a relationship timeline that doesn't add up, a radio host she body-shamed, and a celebrity guest list that reads like a casting call for a reality reunion special. How did we get here? Rewind. Papoose, the Brooklyn lyricist, the alphabetical slaughter legend, was married to Remy Ma for well over a decade. They were hip-hop royalty. Love and hip-hop New York across multiple seasons, a spin-off show, red carpets, a whole black love brand built brick by brick in public. Then around late 2023, the cracks showed. Remy allegedly stepped out with a battle rapper. Papoose allegedly found out. And by late 2024, Remy Ma herself blew the whole thing up. She leaked text messages and DM screenshots between Papoose and Claressa Shields, accused Claressa of planting fake stories to make her look bad, and basically announced to the world that her husband and the GWOT were an item. Papoose fired back publicly. Claressa went on a media tour. And somewhere in that media tour, specifically on Cam Newton's show, she told the story that's now coming back to haunt her like a ghost at a family reunion. She said when she met Papoose at the Shakur fight, she didn't know who he was. Didn't know he was a rapper. Didn't know anything. Just a nice man who shook her hand. Meanwhile, and this is the stakes, people, she's got a fight to sell in 4 days, an arena to fill, and every single headline about her this week is about anything except boxing. That's not fight promotion. That's a 5-alarm fire with a walkout song. And the question I need answered by the end of this video, the question everything else hangs on, is simple. If the origin story was a lie, what else about this whole operation is? Let's start with what we can all see, because the surface evidence alone is already a disaster, and I haven't even opened the good folder yet. Piece number 1. The Cam Newton interview itself. Claressa sat there, in her own words, and described meeting Papoose, and I want you to hear the energy of this. He shook my hand, said, "Hey, I'm Papoose," and I said, "Hey, nice to meet you." I didn't know who he was. I don't even think I knew he was a rapper. She said that. On camera. To Cam Newton. In 2026. About a man who was on one of the biggest reality shows on cable television for 5 consecutive years, married to a Grammy-nominated rapper, and had a song on the radio when half the audience was in high school. I didn't know he was a rapper. Okay. Piece number 2. The Floyd Mayweather post. Salida Promotions put up a post, Floyd announcing he's coming to Atlanta, come witness and be a part of history. Tickets on sale now, fire emoji at the end. Now, I've covered boxing my whole career. I've watched Floyd Mayweather's social media for over a decade. And I'm telling you right now, that caption does not read like Floyd. It reads like a promoter. And here's the forensic part. Go look at the post Lemuel Plummer, the head of Zeus Network, put up 6 weeks earlier announcing the same fight. Claressa's name hyperlinked and clickable. VS in all caps. Opponent untagged, treated like chopped liver. Fire emoji at the end. Now look at Floyd's post. Hyperlinked Claressa. All caps versus Kaye Scott untagged. Fire emoji. Same skeleton. Same fingerprints. Either Floyd Mayweather and the Zeus Network CEO are the same person, or, and this is my personal opinion, allegedly, somebody wrote that caption for Floyd, which means somebody paid Floyd, which means the biggest name attached to this event is a rental. Think about that. Piece number 3. They're advertising the celebrity row. Kevin Gates will be in the building. Floyd will be ringside. Lottie's walking her out. Since when does real boxing do that? When Gervonta Davis fights and LeBron shows up, nobody sends out a press release. When Crawford fought Spence, you found out who was there when the camera panned. Spotting celebrities at a big fight is part of the fun. But when the tickets aren't moving, and I've done a whole video on the ticket situation, go watch it. Suddenly the promotion becomes a grocery store flyer. Guess who's coming? Come on down. That is not confidence. That is desperation with a graphic design team. And piece number 4, and this one is quiet, but it's loud if you're paying attention. Kaye Scott has been virtually invisible this entire promotion. No face-offs getting pushed. No promo packages. An actual professional fighter, 42 years old, coming to compete for a world championship on a historic card, and she's being treated like a +1. Claressa's camp will scream all day that nobody respects women's boxing, meanwhile their own promotion won't even hyperlink the opponent. Does everybody understand how crazy that actually is? You can't demand respect for the sport while your own flyer disrespects the sport. And all of this, every bit of it, is happening in the 4 days before the bell rings. But here's the thing. Everything I just showed you? That's the appetizer. And oh, do I have more for you? Because if you think the Floyd post and the ticket desperation are the story, you haven't seen the timeline yet, the one with dates, screenshots, and a man accidentally confessing on Vlad TV while trying to defend himself. And to the Claressa defenders who are already typing, you're just a hater. She doesn't even know you exist. Save it. Because the receipts I'm about to walk through don't come from me. They come from her own interviews, his own posts, and his own wife's leaked messages. Stay right where you are. Now we go inside, because this is where the cultural evidence starts stacking bodies. Exhibit 1. The love and hip-hop problem. Claressa Shields' own social media history, and I'm talking her own words, dated, screenshotted, archived, shows her watching love and hip-hop as far back as 2012 and 2013. I'm watching Love and Hip-Hop Atlanta. I can't wait for Love and Hip-Hop to start. Then all the way up in 2022, she's posting about Country Wayne being on the show, asking if she looks like Yandy from Love and Hip-Hop. So we have documented fandom spanning a full decade, 2012 to 2022, before and after. Now tell me, who was on Love and Hip Hop New York from 2015 to 2020? Season 6, 7, 8, a whole spin-off special, seasons 9 and 10? Papoose and Remy Ma. Dead center in the exact window of her documented viewing habit. So the story we're being asked to swallow is that she watched the show before they were on it, watched the show after they were on it, but conveniently blacked out for the entire 5-year run where one of the most famous couples in hip-hop was on her television screen every week. Her own former best friend of 11 years has reportedly said Claressa watched the show. So which is it? You can't be a super fan of the franchise and a stranger to its most famous marriage. Those two things cannot live in the same body. Exhibit 2. The DMs with Remy herself. This is the part that makes my skin crawl, honestly. Before Claressa ever allegedly knew Papoose existed, she was in Remy Ma's inbox, asking for fashion advice, getting outfit tips. Remy was publicly supportive of her, congratulating her on fights, hyping her up. Yes, congratulations, heart reactions, the whole sisterhood package. We know this because Remy leaked those very messages herself when this all blew up, and multiple outlets covered the leak. So Claressa was cool with the wife. In her DMs, liking her posts in 2020, 2021, 2022. And during those exact years, Remy and Papoose were still publicly claiming each other. I love you, Remy Ma posts. Valentine's Day tributes about love that's rain, sleet, snow, hurricane, and tornado proof. Mother's Day shout-outs, anniversary posts. Red carpets, the Errol Spence vs. Terrence Crawford fight in July 2023, where they showed up together as husband and wife. Whatever was broken behind closed doors, the public-facing brand was intact. And Claressa, Miss I don't watch anything, Miss I'm never online, wants us to believe she saw the outfit posts, but never once saw the husband. She saw the dresses, but missed the marriage. She had the wife's number, but not the husband's face. Come on, man. Exhibit 3. Papoose's own Instagram is a museum. To this day, that man has never deleted the Remy posts. Happy born day to the queen of all queens. Wrote my wife a poem last night. She says she likes it a lot. Sold our house, moving day, family pictures, 13 years of marriage. Every other post was that woman. And notice, because this detail matters more than people realize, he told the world on the Tamron Hall couch that he and Claressa connected by exchanging poetry. Exchanging poems. Meanwhile, there's a literal archived post of him writing his wife a poem as his love language. He ran the same play, people. Same playbook, different jersey. Now, let me be fair for 1 second, because I know what the defense is. Maybe she just wasn't paying attention. People miss things. Okay, fine. But this woman responds to random TikTokers who call her names. She allegedly had burner accounts in my comment section. She is permanently online, permanently arguing, permanently watching everything said about her. The woman who sees everything didn't see a 5-season television run, a decade of marriage posts, and a wife she was personally demanding? That counterargument doesn't survive contact with her own behavior. And Exhibit 4, the one that changes the whole temperature of the room, is what Papoose did to himself on Vlad TV. But to understand why that moment is so catastrophic, you have to understand what this whole thing actually is underneath the romance. So let's leave the gossip channel for a minute and go to the business channel, because that's where this story stops being messy and starts being sinister. Here's the gear shift, and I need everybody to lock in, because we're done talking about feelings, we're talking about machinery now. Angle number 1, the Zeus Network problem. This fight is not just a boxing match. It's a Zeus Network production wearing boxing gloves. Lemuel Plummer has his fingerprints on this card, and look at who's been announced around it. Floyd, who has a documented history with Zeus, who appeared on their content, who's been photographed with Lemmy multiple times. Kevin Gates, who's been in that reality orbit. The whole extended family of Zeus-adjacent personalities. Now follow the business logic. Zeus is reportedly looking at this event as a proof of concept. Can we package spectacle boxing the way we package baddies? If the numbers hit, what do they need Claressa Shields for next time? They own the platform. They own the audience. They own the formula. She becomes a replaceable headliner on her own historic night. And if the numbers don't hit, she's the face of the failure. Either way, the leverage in this deal does not belong to the fighter. It belongs to the network. That's angle 1. Angle 2, the paid promotion economy, and I want to be careful with my language here. Allegedly, reportedly, in my opinion, the celebrity attendance at this event looks purchased. Floyd Mayweather, who by multiple reports over the past couple of years has faced IRS issues, tax liens, lawsuits, a paternity default judgment situation where a judge reportedly ruled against him after he didn't show up to court. That Floyd Mayweather just organically woke up and decided he cannot miss Claressa Shields versus a woman with 0 knockouts that he's never mentioned once in his life. Floyd didn't show up for Benavidez. Floyd didn't show up for half the biggest fights of the last 5 years. But he's posting promo captions written in somebody else's typing style, with a fire emoji, telling Atlanta to come out? Franchon Cruz-Dezurn, Claressa's former opponent, a woman who actually shared a ring with her, put it better than I ever could. Not them paying celebs to beg people to come to the fight. When your opponents are clowning your gait, you don't have a promotion problem, you have a credibility problem. And here's why it matters beyond the jokes. Paying for the appearance of demand is not promotion, it's stagecraft. It's the boxing equivalent of buying followers. The number looks big, and nothing underneath it is real. Real demand doesn't need to announce itself. Real demand sells the building out and lets you discover the stars in the crowd. Manufactured demand tells you who's coming because it's terrified you won't come otherwise. Angle 3, and this is the deepest layer, so stay with me. The relationship itself has become a business asset, and that's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Look at the pattern. Every time Claressa has a media cycle, the relationship is the hook. Cam Newton interview, relationship. Tamron Hall, relationship. The walkout announcements, the poetry story, the he wants a baby, headlines, relationship. The boxing is the product, but the relationship is the marketing. And when your marketing is built on a story about how you met, that story has to hold. It's load-bearing. The entire public narrative, the GWOT found love, he chose her, he's her king, rests on one foundational claim, that it started clean, organically, innocently, at the Shakur fight, between two people who didn't know each other. Because if it didn't start there, if there were DMs and congratulations and mutual friendliness with his wife years earlier, then it didn't start clean. It started in the wreckage of a marriage she was adjacent to the entire time. And that's not a love story anymore. That's a scandal with a media tour. Does everybody see the architecture now? The fight promotion is manufactured. The celebrity support is allegedly purchased. And the origin story, the emotional core of the whole brand, is a constructed timeline. 3 layers, 1 conclusion. Nothing about this rollout is organic. It's a production. And productions fall apart the second somebody pulls the wrong thread. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Papoose pulled the thread himself. On camera. Sitting across from DJ Vlad. And this is it. This is the moment I told you was coming. This is the October 15th problem, and it is the single most damaging piece of evidence in this entire saga, and I need you to walk through it slowly with me because the devil is in the date. When Papoose sat down with Vlad to defend the relationship timeline, he wanted to prove that he and Claressa met in July 2024 at the Shakur fight, exchanged messages the next day, good morning, it was nice meeting you, the whole innocent courtship. So he showed receipts. He showed the DMs. He literally told Vlad, DMs have timestamps. And in doing so, in his eagerness to prove the 2024 meeting, he exposed what was sitting right above it, his own post about Claressa Shields dated October 15, 2022. The night she beat Savannah Marshall in the UK, in the biggest fight of her career at that point, Papoose publicly congratulated her. In 2022. 2 years before they met. 2 years before he knew who she was. 2 years before the poetry, the Shakur fight, the handshake, the hey, I'm Papoose. Now, his defenders will say, and he basically said on Vlad, it was just a story post. I post boxing stuff all the time. I didn't know her. Okay, let's be generous. Let's take that at face value for exactly 5 seconds. Because here's what detonates the entire alibi, and this is the part that made me sit back in my chair when I found it. Remy Ma leaked Claressa's messages, right? And in those leaked messages, guess what date is sitting on them? October 15th, 2022. The same day. The same night, the same fight. Remy Ma, his wife, was in Claressa Shields' DMs on October 15, 2022, writing, yes, I'm screaming in here, congratulations, as a fan, as a supporter, as a friend. And Claressa hearted the message. She received it. She acknowledged it. So let me make sure everybody in the back row understands what we're looking at. On the same night, the husband posts her victory, and the wife DMs her congratulations. A married couple, in their home, quite possibly watching her fight together, because Remy has said on Angie Martinez's show that she's a sports head, she knows every team, every trade. And this couple is simultaneously reaching out to celebrate Claressa Shields in October of 2022. And then this woman goes on Cam Newton's couch in 2026 and says she met Papoose for the first time in July 2024 and didn't know who he was, didn't know he was a rapper, knew nothing. No. You don't get DM'd by a woman, have that woman's husband post you on the same night, remain friendly in that woman's inbox for years, watch the reality show they starred on, and then meet the husband 2 years later and go, who dis? That is not a memory gap. That is a manufactured timeline. And here's the truly devastating part, Papoose did this to himself. Nobody hacked him. Nobody set him up. He was so desperate to prove the clean version of the story that he broadcast the dirty version of the evidence. He held up his own receipt and accidentally showed the whole store. And one more detail, because it matters, in those very screenshots he shared, the ones meant to prove how innocent the first meeting was, Claressa is wearing her engagement ring from Tony Rich. Her fiancé. The man she was engaged to while she was DMing Papoose, nice meeting you, and reportedly sending him VIP tickets to her next fight, tickets, I might add, that she sent to him alone. Not to him and his wife. She was in the wife's DMs for years and invited only the husband. With a fiancé at home and a ring on her finger. Every single element of the official story, we met in 2024, I didn't know him, it was innocent, is contradicted by a timestamp, a heart reaction, a ring, and a ticket. This wasn't two strangers finding love. This, in my opinion, was two people rewriting history after the fact because the real history looks terrible. The leaked relationship DMs that everybody's passing around this week didn't expose a scandal. They exposed a cover story. And the cover story was the foundation everything else was built on. Now here's the resolution, and I want to land this plane the right way, because in the middle of all this manufactured chaos, there is one person in this story who never had to fake a thing, and that's Remy Ma. Think about what she actually did and what she didn't do. When her marriage fell apart, she didn't get on camera with a scripted love story. When she finally spoke, she brought receipts, timestamps, screenshots, messages, and every single one of them has held up under scrutiny. She's the one who told Angie Martinez plainly what happened. She's the one who, by all accounts, kept the relationships, kept the industry respect, kept her dignity. Notice who showed up at Angie's barbecue and who didn't. Notice that the culture's door still opens for her. And meanwhile, look at the two people on the other side of the story. One of them is going into the biggest fight of her life with her origin story in ashes, her promotion allegedly buying celebrity attendance, her own former opponent mocking her gait, and a trail of scorched earth beefs with radio hosts and random fans. One person in this story dealt in facts and let the timeline speak. The others dealt in narrative and got destroyed by their own timestamps. While the GWOT is out here body-shaming radio personalities and forgetting what she said on camera, Remy Ma has said less and been believed more, because when your story is true, you don't have to keep performing it. That's the lesson the culture keeps teaching and people keep refusing to learn. You cannot outpromote the truth. You can rent Floyd. You can buy the caption. You can rehearse the origin story on every couch from Cam Newton to Tamron Hall. But the internet is forever. Timestamps don't have feelings, and a heart reaction from 2022 will outlive every interview you give in 2026. The right person is still winning, not because she's louder, but because she's the only one whose story never needed to be manufactured. Integrity is the only currency in this game that doesn't depreciate. And tonight, the exchange rate just got very public. And listen, this is only the start, so if you're not locked in yet, you're about to miss the whole second act. Because this Saturday, August 15th, State Farm Arena is either going to be a coronation or a crime scene, and I genuinely don't know which. Watch what happens if that building is half empty after all this celebrity advertising, because then the Zeus question gets answered in real time, and Claressa's next fight won't be in Atlanta with Floyd and fireworks. It'll be back in Detroit or overseas against Lauren Price in somebody else's building, on somebody else's terms. Watch what Papoose does next, because the man has a documented habit of talking himself into evidence. Every interview he gives trying to clean this up produces another timestamp, another contradiction, another receipt. And Vlad TV already got him once. And watch Remy Ma, because she hasn't said a fraction of what she could say. She's reportedly sitting on more, and if this week keeps going the way it's going, I don't think she stays quiet forever. So if you want to be here when all of it drops, the fight fallout, the gate numbers, the next leak, the next accidental confession, you already know what to do. Hit the button, ring the bell, and stay with the channel that's been ahead of the story at every single turn, because I called the promotion desperation weeks ago and I was right. I called the timeline problems months ago and I was right, and I'm telling you now. The post-fight week is going to be messier than the pre-fight week. And if you want to understand how we even got here, how a woman became friendly with a wife, ended up with the husband, and built a fairy tale on top of a fault line, you need to watch my deep dive on the dark secrets of this entire relationship timeline. Because the detail I left out of this video is the one that explains everything else. Click it. I'll see you there. We unpack.